Yes, every farmer needs sun to cultivate his plant. As you can see, this palm fruit grows here, but when you harvest the palm fruit, for you to export it or transport it to a various location, because of how large the farm is, you actually need a mechanized system, and those mechanized systems have to be powered with solar in order to make it faster and automatic. So this is how we start up the solar system with our local produce before you run the production.
Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If today is your first time of watching my video, please kindly subscribe on my YouTube channel. By subscribing, you are not going to miss out on the recent trend and the values we share together in this channel. By joining this community, I promise you I'll be giving you the recent information concerning solar development. Today we'll be talking about the importance of sustainable energy in agriculture. What are the sustainable energy we know? Solar energy is one of the most reliable energy and the sustainable energy that we all know. How is it important when used in agriculture? As we all know, every crop depends on sunlight to ensure that it grows properly. This sunlight can be seen in every farm or in a large area where crops are being planted. So therefore, for us to make use of this sunlight effectively, we need to harness it by adopting the use of solar panel, which will help us to trap the sun and harness it to enable the farmer power the various equipment which he uses in his farm. For instance, we have the equipment that he uses for irrigation, we have the equipment that he uses for mechanization and storage. For instance, when you know that you have that machine that you use for irrigation, like the water pump, which helps you to ensure that it is powered constantly when solar energy is generated. Then in the mechanization, you know that the production of the fertilizer, which helps the plant to grow faster or makes it to grow in appropriate time. When you have the machine that is being powered by solar, you already know that you have advantage over the people that does not use solar system. For instance, we also have a system that works with the use of this solar energy. You can process your plant, you can change it from this particular produce and convert it to another end product, which is the process place. By processing this thing, you are sure that the process will be faster, because every technology relies on energy, and the energy that is needed also needs to be effective. And when solar energy is there, it means that it is effective, it is cost minimal, and when you apply it, you will enjoy it. Okay, now we know that this is enjoyable. Then what are those components that we need to make sure that these systems work properly? Like in solar system, we have the key components that make them function properly. First, we need the solar panel. Then we also need the inverter and also the solar battery, which is the deep cycle. Nowadays, we have various types of solar panel. We have the mono and we have the poly. As you all know, if you watch my previous videos, you know that I've treated the components that is needed in the production of solar energy. So by watching my videos constantly, you see that we have the two types of panels, which is the mono and the poly, as I said. In the same way, the inverters have capacities. With these capacities is determined by the appliances or by the load. Like in the farm, the capacity of your machine determines the size of the inverter that will be needed. Then we have different forms of solar batteries. For instance, we have the deep cycles, we have the tubular, we have the lithium battery. We equally have the SMF, that is the dry cell. So these are the components that you need to apply. First, when you get the panel, you place it towards the sun. When it comes up, you see it will attract the sun and generate the energy. It will flow through the cable and enters into what we call charge controller, which makes sure that all the charges that comes in does not enter to the battery directly. So the controller helps to regulate the amount of charging that is being deposited, or the amount of charges that is being deposited in the battery. So now, what is the essence of the battery? The battery helps us to back up the system. Perhaps there is outage or sun. For all we know that we have day and we have night. So during the day, the sun is always at the index, which is the peak, but during the night, there is no sun. So for us to sustain the system during the night, the battery will come up and do the backup system, whereas during the day, the solar system will pick up again. That is how it works. The next application of solar energy in agriculture is crop and grain dryers. So what are the processes that we use in drying our crops? probably we just harvest it. For instance, for those of us that runs rice planting, you know how to plant rice, that most of the times when you harvest your rice, after harvesting the rice, you need to parboil it. After parboiling it, you need to face it under the sun for it to dry before you can take it to milling machines. But those areas, those you sending them or putting them on the floor, facing them to the surface of the sun for dryness, is actually a solar system of drying crops. And that is the oldest use of solar energy in agriculture. I know you will not understand. That is the oldest use or oldest method of applying solar energy in agriculture. But there are some advantages and disadvantages of that, which I am here to tell you. One, it is cost effective because it doesn't cost you anything for you to dry them. So because of that, you do it effortlessly without you losing anything like money when you are trying to do that. But unfortunately, we have some consequences or things that is not in order when such method is used. For instance, most crop that we use or the things we want to process doesn't need to be contaminated. So when you expose them to the sun, there's a tendency that the wind can blow some of them off, which will make you lose some plants or some crops. There is also a tendency that birds and other animals which we don't want can equally pest on them and introduce something that is harmful to the body. Remember, the essence of us drying this is to make sure that it is easier for us to process during processing. But these days, you see that when those things have pest on them, they have actually helped us by drying it, but it doesn't equally help us to maintain a healthy system in our body. Therefore, it contaminates what we are going to take in after processing the food. But nowadays, we have a modern technology that helps us, like the solar dryer, that helps us to dry it because of the innovation that is being done in the solar system. So it is actually dry it without contaminating it, without introducing anything harmful, without us losing the crop or the grain which we are trying to dry. So these are the areas where you can see the effective application of solar energy in agriculture. Okay, the next one is, as we know, the remote electricity generation. So, for instance, we are too much aware that darkness also causes a lot of things among the animals or in the farm. But when you introduce constant electricity, where there will be no room for theft to invade. So solar technology also helps us to generate the energy that we use in the farm to make sure that the vicinity is lighting up with solar energy. In the same way, we have what we call the solar camera that we adapt to every farm that monitor the activities of the people that comes in and the one that goes out. In that way, the theft of stealing our product or stealing the grain or stealing the things we produce or the things we plant or what destroyed it, with the help of solar powered camera, we can actually see everything that is going on within the modern farming system. All the commercial farmers need to watch this movie. Perhaps you want to go into agriculture, I urge you to watch this video and take these proper steps, making sure that you have a solar system or a solar energy that is effective in your farm, as it will help you to reduce costs, it will help you to make more profit, it will help you also to produce large quantity of crops and grain for the benefit of the society. Thank you for watching this video. Help me subscribe and share it for others.